If you guys were on the Tuesday or Thursday streams, or honestly any of the Final Fantasy XI streams lately, you probably have noticed that it seems like maybe the team's getting a little burnt out with retail. Honestly, with us, it seems to happen about every 6 months. It is something strange. Seriously, we've been playing retail in its current state for basically 4 years with minor updates coming along here and there, and whenever a big update comes out, we get really excited. Whenever I personally start feeling like this, I get the itch more and more for a classic version of Final Fantasy XI, which is where I start delving back into Eden once again. I'll see you guys there. But back in the day when I'd feel burnout, I'd just be like, I don't know, I feel like I need to change jobs. Around the Brady Games guy. This thing has helped me pick my next job more times than I could count. Not always with its description of how the jobs play out, but more just the aesthetic. I'd look through all the pictures and be like, that looks so cool, so fun. And no section of this booklet for me got more attention than the Dragoon section. I don't know, Dragoon just always had this allure to it, this mystique that it was such a unique melee job, which is kind of weird because there's not that much that Dragoon can do. It can do its jumps, and the Wyvern can do its breath moves. But Dragoon was unique. Whenever you delve into it, you're like, wow, this is kind of crazy. Like, this is the only job that can totally just shed its hate all at once with this single job ability. Very cool. Now hate shedding and sharing is a little more common. But back in 75, it was basically Thief and Dragoon were the only two jobs that could do anything like that. It also is one of the few, if not the only jobs that could, at the press of a button, with a job ability, just attack the enemy. Many could provoke, many could engage a ranged attack or attack in general, but very few could just be like, I want to hit it. And it gave it a very distinct feel. Add into that the entire flavor then of the 2 hour, the call Wyvern, which gave you a permanent pet, something that truly was unique at that point in Final Fantasy XI. Summoners could summon, but eventually you'd have to let it go. Beastmasters could charm, but again, it was temporary. Dragoons, as long as that Wyvern was alive, it was your buddy and it was out. Puppet Master eventually came to fill that space too, but Puppet Master's a story for another day. Anyways, I'm saying all this to say we're reading the Dragoon section today. I'm really curious about this one because honestly, Dragoon had one of the most unique mechanics in the game of the Wyvern's breaths based on your sub-job. No other job ties so directly to your sub-job as Dragoon. If you're one of the hybrids, I think it was like Bard, Ninja, and you cast one of their ninjutsu or songs, then it would do a healing breath, but under, I think, a quarter HP. And then if you had the artifact head, it was like a third. But it would also do breath attacks, but they're weaker and more often not the right element for bursting and or weakness. But yeah, if you had then a mage sub, full mage sub, it would just heal you at 1/3 or 50% HP depending on your gear. I think you get it up even higher than that, but essentially. Which made it one of the coolest and most unique soloers in the game. Because seriously, any spell, he just tossed out a Dia or poison. It was crazy. Eventually Blue Mage came along, you do. Anyways, I digress. And then in parties, it felt like a totally different job because you'd have a melee sub and it would be doing these strong directed breath attacks. It was so cool. But did Brady Games capture all of that essence in their descriptions? Did they see the potential? Or did they Brady Games it a bit? Let's find out. Those who turn away from the path of standard training in warfare may enter the realm of Dragoons. These dragon warriors can fight with enhanced prowess against worms, some of the most fearsome monsters in the world. More prominent, however, is their ability to summon wyverns to aid them in battle. These pets are extremely useful, and it's one of the job's central features. As spear wielders, Dragoons have the ability to perform jumping attacks using their spears to level opponents. Nothing in Vanadil likes having a spiky Galka land on its head. So far, so good. They seem to be capturing the essence. The wyvern is one of the most crucial points. Big into polearms. Galkas are hysterical doing it. Power mobility, which is the greatest force in the world of military conquest. Power or mobility. Without either, a force can be rendered ineffective. Power gives us the strength to overbear the evils that climb our walls and seek out our loved ones. Mobility is the essence of action. It enables us to be where we are needed and fight against the greatest threats at any time. We, the Dragoons, are the union of both. Our spears held high, we are driven to be where we are needed and to fight our enemies on the land, in the skies, and anywhere that darkness looms. Our safety lies in our wyverns and our power to engage and disengage at will. Leaping into the heavens, we are the ones to dictate the order of warfare. It's a hell of a sales pitch. Did the others all have this? Yeah, I guess they all do, but I don't know. It doesn't really quite strike a chord with. Whew. But now we get into the fun stuff. How much do they really understand about racial impacts? Dragoon race choices. All races work as Dragoons, especially with some of the race-specific equipment. Strength and dexterity are always important to any melee-based job, but vitality is also well worth it. Mind is also useful to have if you are interested in a healing support job. Okay, I already see us drifting a bit, but let's see what they mean. Galka Dragoons are wonderful and can hold their own very well. With their high strength and vitality, Galka are a natural choice for fighter classes, and Dragoons are no exception. I think it's true. Elvons, with their high strength and wonderful vitality, are Dragoons par excellence. Their hit points and potential to deal out damage is enormous. True. Mithra make fast Dragoons. Are they fast in what way? Are they sprinting across the wilds? Reeling out the attacks when needed. Their speed is of great use in this job, and they make good fighters in this arena. So are they just like kind of drifting into a kind of like a metaphorical kind of conversation about Mithra, like that in theory they're speedy and like that reflects in their dexterity as a stat, they hit more often? I don't know. Are they actually saying they're faster? Can you imagine if Mithra were like 1% faster? Hume also benefit from their well-rounded stats, and they make solid Dragoons. They are also able to pair being a Dragoon with any support job, a definite benefit to this versatile fighter. You hear that, guys? Only Humes can use any support job. Tartar Dragoons are perfectly suited to the Dragoon White Mage path. Their magical abilities will allow a Dragoon to do some backup healing on themselves and others when things get tense. In addition, the Wyvern that you have will be able to use a healing breath, which can help in any coming battle. So that's not wrong. And Tartar do have a huge benefit when it comes to, sub-mage, because they have a lot more base MP just as a stat. But they also have one of the biggest downsides, which they don't even really touch on here, is that the HP minimum that you have to get to reach that healing threshold is so much lower because you're a Tartar. It was a huge struggle for me as a soloer. Let me go into the details of the extra job quest itself, which starts in Sandoria. If you haven't done this one, I highly recommend it. It's so much fun. And to be honest, it's just one of the cooler Vanadil stories, and it gives a lot of reason why you as Dragoon is kind of special and unique. I love it. Playing as a Dragoon. Dragoons rely on two factors to turn a battle in their favor. The famous Dragoon jumps are tactically useful, but they still don't make up for the loss of a second attack, higher hit points, and upgraded attack or defense. The big difference between the Dragoon and other melee types is the Wyvern that accompanies a Dragoon from level 1 forward. Yeah, I'd say it's true. The Wyvern is a free ally that will do anything in its power to assist the Dragoon, able to withstand considerable punishment. No, they die from everything. These loyal monsters can be summoned as a Dragoon's 2-hour ability. Unless slain, this will enable the monster to hunt with you. Even if the beast is felled, you still have access to it once again once your character's 2-hour has been restored. So this was still during the 2-hour period, but that's to be expected. A veteran Dragoon is a team player. Instead of causing massive damage in a single strike, these fighters latch onto targets with their Wyverns nearby. Although Dark Knights inflict more damage by default, a Dragoon with the right weapon skills and equipment can approach this frightening realm of offense. Much like Dark Knights, Ninja, and many other aggressive jobs, why is Ninja in there? The Dragoons do their best work with a warrior paladin to grab aggro. This keeps the Dragoon's Wyvern safe and enables the Dragoon to focus on building TP for powerful polearm attacks. That's not bad advice, but that's just like saying a tank is helpful. Yeah, I guess. How long to solo? Dragoons do just fine soloing in the early levels. Throw a warrior in as a support job and watch the sparks fly. Start looking for a party between levels 10 to 15 because nothing will stop you before then if you're shrewd and seeking the right kind of monsters. I love that this guy was thinking like maybe around level 8, start partying up. Did anyone do that? Let me know if it worked. When Andric and Mog and I tried to party up at level like 5 just out of pure excitement, it did not work. It was very detrimental to our speed. Also, I love that they suggest warrior as the best support job. I would have totally thought that a mage support job would be superior, just like for the healing breaths alone. But in the early levels, I don't know, maybe not. What are your thoughts? Oh my god, this picture, something about this picture on the bottom right of being in the maze of Shakrami with the Wyvern, Tartar's over to the side there, and Elvon just like partying. This is the picture that always made me want to be a Dragoon. I wanted to like wander the wilds with my Wyvern. That sounded like so cool aesthetically. I was like, this is gonna be amazing. I just want this job so bad. And this was the first struggle I had as a Tartar because I'd been a mage everything. I started as Black Mage, then I did White Mage, then I did Summoner, all around to like 30 or 40, and I really wanted to be Dragoon, so I had to go level Warrior out of nowhere. I guess I did Monk or Thief as a sub for that. Nothing was ready, nothing. I had to do it all, and I hated Warrior. Also, so I got Warrior to like level 9, level Dragoon to like 15. I was like, I need more. Speaking of which, I want to hear your stories on your favorite leveling experiences early on. Maybe not the first job, maybe not the second, but like, what was your big shift? Did you ever have a shift, or were you like, I want to be a Red Mage, and you took Red Mage to 75, and that was it for the rest of your life? I shifted constantly. Join us every Tuesday night and Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. We do play a lot of 11, probably some Eden in the near future, as well as other games, but I want to hear all your stories. I love this stuff. It gets me hyped about this game again. I brought up the whole, like, we're getting a little burned out, because this is the kind of stuff that gets me pumped and hyped about the game. 11. Yummy targets. Dragoons are better at fighting Dragoons are yummy targets. Dragoons are better at fighting dragons than most other jobs, but don't start fighting just yet. First, it isn't until level 25 that Dragoon's job trade against dragons even begins. Second, Dragoon soloing is intended as a quick way to get to your home point more than anything else. What? Wait, what? Dragoon soloing is intended as a quick way to get to your home point more than anything else? Are they saying just surviving your way back to town? Or are they giving a little shade and being like, it's mostly just because you're gonna die, death warp back to your home point? Please let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on what the hell that means. I have no idea. Dragoons have more fun fighting with low evasion monsters, especially at higher levels. Dragoons make their damage felt through constant attacks rather than individual blows. The job's modest dexterity makes it important to avoid fast enemies, for down that path lies frustration. What is it with this constant reference of fast? Do they mean like very agile creatures? Also, what job is like, I'd rather fight a high evasion monster? No one. Everybody likes low evasion monsters. I don't really know what they mean by like our constant attacks. I think Dragoon's the second slowest job behind Dark Knight in terms of like overall time between attacks. Constant. Weapon skills. It's very difficult not to take a polearm spear as a Dragoon. The weapon skills for polearm are very good, especially the Sublime Pentathrust. With these weapons, you soon gain the ability to launch a range of attacks, lightning damage, stunning blows, or multiple hits. Add to this that Dragoon learns much faster with polearms, and the choice is clear. I don't know what that last part means, except that they like have a higher skill, so overall, the accuracy's bad. What do you mean they learn faster? But yeah, that is true. I can't really picture in the long term a Dragoon using a sword. I think Dragoon could use Joyus, and I do remember occasionally seeing somebody who had one, just being like, ah, yes, my Joyus on my Dragoon, but I don't know if it was ever really competitively effective versus all the amazing spears. Breeds of Wyverns. The Call Wyvern ability uses a Dragoon's most powerful ally. The Call Wyvern ability brings a Dragoon's most powerful ally to their side, but people will quickly notice that the abilities of these Wyverns varies. This is because there are several forms of Wyverns, and the one summoned is determined by which support job the Dragoon is currently keeping. Is it Wyvern or Wyvern? I've heard both. I think I say Wyvern. There are a total of 3 different action patterns displayed by a Wyvern. The type a Wyvern takes varies with the support job of its master. There are 3 types of Wyverns, and the table below shows which support jobs are associated with these creatures. Alright, so they weren't wrong. The offensive are all the ones that you'd expect: Warrior, Monk, Thief, Beastmaster, Ranger, Samurai. Beastmaster being a surprise there. But I mean, it has to fit somewhere. Balanced: Paladin, Ninja, Dark Knight, Bard. Okay. Ninja I remembered, Bard I remembered. I forgot about Dark Knight and Paladin. It's kind of an interesting approach. But the HP is just so low before you trigger the healing breath. And then defensive: Black Mage, Red Mage, White Mage, and Summoner. Summoner was always the funny one, because technically, yes, you have a healing Wyvern with Summoner, but you have no spells to trigger it. Because if you can't summon anything when you have the Wyvern out. It was like this hilariously useless defense support job. Then they go on to describe the offensive, balanced, and defensive Wyverns. To be honest, pretty accurately. As the level of the Wyvern's master increases, the Wyvern's ability becomes more skilled at healing its master and using breath attacks that target an enemy's weakness. I don't know about the targeting an enemy's weakness, but the breath attacks do get stronger. Like there's healing breath 1, 2, 3. I don't know how high it goes now. There's no way for a master to heal his or her Wyvern through magic or items. However, when its master kneels to heal, Wyvern will also lie down and rest. Wyverns cannot be saved for future sessions. Once a player decides to log out, the Wyvern will leave. In this case, or in the event that the Wyvern is killed, the player must wait for his or her timer to run down so that another Wyvern can be called. I'd love to know if this was true. Now, if you log out with your Wyvern intact, your Wyvern is still there. I think even if you zone and then zone back out again. Let me know in the comments if you remember a time where if you logged out with your Wyvern or God forbid disconnected, did your Wyvern just disappear for the 2-hour window? That would suck. Being in a party, it's rare to hear other players say that they specifically need a Dragoon. I guess that's true. Anyone who's been high enough in level to see a Dragoon Warrior or Dragoon Samurai spamming pentathrust will be pleased to help you level and hunt. As with all of the fighting jobs, simply find a niche as a damage dealer for a group, then stick with known allies for future parties. So they were big into the idea of a static. They're like, find some people that can accept you for who you are as a Dragoon, and then just run with it. Equipping items, upgrade your Dragoon's polearm first, then work on finding things to enhance dexterity and strength. Vitality and agility can take a backseat to these stats, because you want to hit hard and often in most party situations. Armor is your last priority. It will always be expensive, plus it can only take you so far. Pay for better damage, better stats, then look into heavier protection. I think that's really, actually, advice forever. It was always kind of Dragoon's biggest weak point was for a long time they just didn't have a lot of gear options. There were tons of endgame Dragoons that were wearing the Scorpion harness because it was one of the only pieces of gear that would offer any benefit on the body. The Assault Shuriken, the Scorpion harness, and then beyond that was a bunch of god tier stuff, right? Kieran's Asode was, in theory, good. Is it just Asode? I always say Asode in my head. I feel like I'm missing something else that was useful. Who knows? And then eventually more and more gear was released and became incredibly valuable. Oh my god, the Homum stuff? I was jealous of that. I was a big Assault Shuriken guy. Dragoon is a main job. Dragoons are a stylish choice. Very true. You can inflict at least as much damage as a Dark Knight. I'm gonna tell Hayden that. Everybody, let's let Hayden know that Brady Games says it can inflict at least as much damage as a Dark Knight. And both jobs get onto the front lines without being used as tanks. True. Dragoon Warrior. This is a melee fighter, pure and simple. Using the warrior abilities to increase its attack effectiveness, this combo can deal enough damage to rival many of the heavy combat jobs. I would love to know what they mean when they keep saying heavy combat jobs. What are the other jobs? Do they just mean every melee? Dragoon Samurai. Using Samurai to focus on weapon skills, this duo is best directed toward multi-hit skills like double thrust and pentathrust. At lower levels, this doesn't seem as useful as Dragoon Warrior selection, but the power of Samurai's support job grows over time, making the later levels pay for the time spent. They're bringing up pentathrust and Samurai Sub a lot. Now remember, this wasn't back when the Saigon Third Eye, Hasso changes were in place. I'm wondering if they're thinking, and if this was written when pentathrust was insane, and you'd get full TP back for every strike of a multi-hit weapon skill. So if you had Store TP and Samurai Sub, you could basically spam pentathrust, pentaspam, the classic pentaspam. I never got to do it myself. It seems like they're alluding to that. Dragoon White Mage. Dragoons aren't as effective as Black Mages, but they have enough spirit to make passable White Mages. This is a valuable duo because Dragoons have a higher mind stat and more opportunities to use White Magic. Hey, they keep bringing up stats. Otherwise, this has been incredibly accurate all throughout. They really haven't given any bad advice. Maybe not for the right reasons, but all the advice is solid. Dragoon is a support job. Dragoons aren't nearly as effective when used as a sub. Without a Wyvern, I said Wyvern that time. There's not as much for a Dragoon to do for other players. A spear-wielding samurai may consider Dragoon, but Warrior still provides more offensive tools, a better defense, and higher attribute bonuses. See, even there, they mentioned that Warrior is a better sub even if Samurai is using Spear, but having Dragoon as a sub, does that give you access to additional weapon skills for Samurai using Spear? I don't think so. The only time the Dragoon that I remember was an incredible sub until now, when it's actually, I think, kind of valuable, was in that one period. There's a period of levels where you don't get Berserk yet. I want to say it's 20 to 30, but you do get the accuracy bonus trait from Dragoon. So subbing Dragoon is in many ways more valuable. You get a jump and the accuracy bonus trait. Remind me of the level range for that. I think the only other job that gets the accuracy bonus trait is Ranger, but you obviously don't get the jump. I want to say Dragoon was valuable there. They give a nice jump macro idea. I'll break him in two with this jump. Job ability, jump. Let me know if anybody used that job ability macro. Anyways, guys, that was Dragoon. To be honest, like I said, I consider that to be mostly good advice, which is probably why I wasn't led astray and actually leveled Dragoon effectively, because Brady Games gave me the advice I needed to be effective. Are there any Tartar Dragoons in this whole? No, there aren't, but there was an FFXI Encyclopedia. Dudes, that was fun. I am pumped. I'll probably be revisiting Eden more and more lately, but we're still trying to beat those helms on retail, and I've been having trouble swapping back and forth between retail and Eden. We'll see. Let me know what you guys are playing right now in terms of single player games. It's October. Horror games are the thing. I just beat Resident Evil 7. I was super pumped about it. It was actually a lot of fun. Like I said, join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. We bounce around between a bunch of different games. We have a lot of fun. But a lot of the times, it is 11. Definitely stop by, say hi, bring your stories, bring your thoughts, questions, whatever. I don't know. Otherwise, dudes, you all have a good one, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace. That was rough. I have the music off in games, we didn't hear the gong. I hope they survive. They'll start getting late here. Good to see you on Eden again. Have a good stream, mate. Dude, anytime, man. Thanks for stopping by.